What's up, YouTubers? Jose Quiñones, the CNC dude here. Hey, I have a box, so let's get it open. Alright, for this bad boy here, I am going to blame Mr. My 4 Boy from the UK. He, if you haven't watched his videos, please do. He's a tremendous maker, forging stuff in aluminum, retrofitting his own machines. Fantastic content on his YouTube page. However, in one of his videos, he presented this amazing piece of equipment and he added a link, and of course I had to go and check. I couldn't believe it. When I saw the price on this puppy here, I pressed the buy now button so fast that physicists across the globe said, "Oh, what was that? Something moved faster than the speed of light." Yep, that was my hand pressing the buy now button. Incredible deal. So I am blown away by this. So here you have it, the Photon SLA 3D printer. I'm gonna have to read the instructions because of course I have no idea how to use this guy. I mean, I've watched a few of the videos from my 4 Boy, and I read his blog post, so he has very good insight as to some of the settings that you can use to get good results. So this is not like with any 3D printer, this is not a push a button and go unless you have the right set of parameters, and unfortunately getting to those is not necessarily an easy thing. So but you know, here is the 3D printer, here's the surface which is going to be basically going up, and slowly it's going to be getting slices of hardened resin attached to it. So eventually here's where I'm gonna remove the part from. There is a power supply, power cord, simple stuff, a screwdriver, which I imagine must be used for setting up the table, and there's a setup for that. I'll have to look into it. Some paperwork. This is the film, FEP film. So I'm not entirely certain what is the purpose of that. I don't understand it yet, but apparently the tension of this is crucial, so something to look for. And some resin, of course. You know, I acquired this printer, told you know how much it cost. I mean, I think it was $280 with shipping and resin and all of these accessories. Unbelievable. I mean, like I've been saying, 8 years ago they were $3,000. $280 for a full-blown SLA 3D printer, mind-blowing. Of course, I could not let that pass. But the resin is where they're gonna get me, because each bottle is, I think, $50 or something. I don't remember now. But that's where they're going to make their money, of course. And be aware that any printer in the face of this planet, any printer, doesn't matter if it is inkjet or toner or 3D printing, doesn't matter. Where the real business model is not on the printer, but on the materials, right? The inks and in this case the resin and all the stuff. Last but not least, there is a little bag with some items. I believe this is the only piece that needs to be attached, which is the knob to be able to open this. Mask for obviously for handling the fumes. Probably will use something stronger than this. And some gloves. This is one of the things that I buy at Harbor Freight by the trillions, because that's a good deal. And then a little spatula, some Allen wrenches, and a little screwdriver. So let me get to assemble this and read some instructions, and I'll be back. Here's the little bag with screws. I still haven't figured out what all of these are for, but one of these M4s, 8, it's an M4 8, will be used for attaching the door handle. Man, I wish this door came with a handle so that I could install the handle. Man, after all of this assembly, I'm gonna have to go and take a nap. And here we go. First turn on. Photon. And there are 3 icons: print, system, and tools. I haven't read about this yet, so obviously I'm gonna have to read. Touchscreen, that is cool. Man, that is amazing how cheap these things have gotten. Unbelievable. Alright, so now it's time to level the surface where the print is gonna basically attach to. When this came out of the printer, this wasn't flexible at all. I mean, this was like this. It was stiff. So the instructions say untighten the screw, and of course that's going to make this guy go like this, and now you mount it. There is some space in there. The instructions say to put 1 piece of printer paper. However, Mr. My4Boy says he has better results with 2 pieces of paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and put 2. Okay, I had to remove the paper because of course I cannot show you what's gonna happen here. Right now I am on the move Z axis. So this thing is moving up and down. If I press the little house, that's home. I already did that. It basically homes the thing. And there are 3 options. You can move 0.1 millimeter, 1 millimeter, or 10 millimeter. Of course, to flatten the head, you will want to go as small as possible, I think. I mean, I don't think we want to jam this guy down. And then there are 2 arrows. I imagine this is for going up and this one for going down. So now I'm gonna put my pieces of paper. You're not gonna be able to see this because unfortunately the paper is gonna be on the way, but I know that I have to go down until the bed is flat against the screen. And the idea here is that I'm gonna be pulling the paper like this, and when there is resistance, that means this guy is flat. So that's why I want to go slow. Okay, here we go. I'm on the point where I need to apply some force to remove the paper. Okay, so I had to do this a few times until I get it right because the surface has to be perfectly parallel with the screen. It cannot be at any angle. I find it hard to believe that a little angle is going to represent a problem, but that's what the instructions say, so I will go ahead and try to ensure that the surface is parallel with the screen. Now, you can imagine that wasn't that easy considering the paper was in the way and I couldn't see where was the screen, but just move the paper a little bit and use one of the corners, and that gave me pretty good results. So this is looking great. Once the bed is leveled, what you need to do is tell the system that this is your Z equals 0 coordinate point. So we're gonna go to Tools, Move. Actually, you don't have to go to Move C. Right here is a button of C equals 0, and it says C0 is decided by trigger position. Confirm. Now the system is gonna start from there. So when you tell it to print, that's the first layer, and then it's gonna go off from there. I'm not certain what would have happened if I had not pressed that button, but I'm glad I read the instructions because I was gonna skip it. So remember to do that one, or who knows what's gonna happen. On the next step, the instructions are asking us to check the screen, so I'm gonna go back to Tools, Detection, Next. This guy is set up to 200 seconds. That's like a lot. I'm gonna have to play with that, but I don't even know what that does yet. And the instruction doesn't say squat about it. All it says is that this should display a square. So let me go back. Say next. Should be a square, and I can see a square. Hopefully that's not gonna make me blind by looking at that. That's UV light. Let's go back. And I guess that's it. With regards to the printer setup, now all I have to do is install this guy. You know, don't touch the film because you want light to go through. I'm not a physicist, so I'm not sure what's gonna happen if you smudge it. I mean, I imagine photons can still go through. It's not like light. It's that impenetrable. But obviously, whatever absorbs the light is not gonna make it into your print, so it may become something that you don't want, a feature that you don't want. So don't touch it. Just make sure that thing is as clean as possible. Well, first print just came out of the printer. It's amazing. This resin is incredible. I mean, this thing is invisible. It has absolutely no mass, and it occupies no space whatsoever because it is a freaking failure. And the reason, as probably I should have tinkered a little bit more with, turns out that if you don't have right, the part doesn't attach to the leveling surface and you get nothing. And unfortunately, there is no way of knowing if that is happening until the entire operation is complete, because this thing is submerged back there, or I should say down there, and well, that's what you get. In this case, absolutely nothing. Extremely infuriating, but what the heck. I guess there is a learning curve for everything. So back to the grinder. In theory, there should be something down there, because I mean, obviously the UV light was solidifying resin. So now I gotta scoop it all out. Lovely, just lovely. But that is just part of the growing pains. So back when I finally figured it out. Now, before I go, something I did want to point out. Don't put too much resin in there, because obviously then this thing is gonna submerge in it, and I don't think you're supposed to go that deep. So that was another mistake. No need to put that much resin. So that's yet another item that I'm gonna have to learn with. But right now I'm gonna try to scoop whatever it is that got printed out and didn't get attached. That's gonna be amazing. So in case you're interested, the procedure is to take a cup and then one of these strainers, which I just checked, apparently you can buy on Harbor Freight. I think it's like $100 for $5, so dirt cheap. They are supposed to be paint strainers. I already have a bunch in here, so but I'll go to Harbor Freight and get a bunch. You know, every weekend they have a 20% deal. Every deal, Harbor Freight has the best deal ever. Probably you need like 7 hands to accomplish this feat without a mess. Now, in theory, I should be using a respirator, and I forgot about that. And I see a blob of of solidified resin in there. Can you see it? I guess that is the figure welded into the plastic. Probably a nice tool would be something that grabs this like this, so that I can recover most of the resin. Now, I misspoke earlier and I said that the resin is like $50 for a little can. Well, it depends on how much you buy. You can buy 250 milliliters, 500 milliliters, or a liter. It also depends on the color. So some colors are cheaper than others. I just got me 500 milliliters of the exact same color for 20 bucks on Amazon. It will be here tomorrow. And I also got me a bunch of glass beakers, which are gonna make this task considerably easier. And then you're supposed to clean this with 75 or 95%, I forget the kind of alcohol, but read the instructions obviously. Yep, right there. That's the print. That didn't work at all. Here is my print, which if you're into math, this is basically the integration of all of the slices on the same point, because for all practical purposes, the thing never got attached to the leveling bed or to the surface. So they all got curated or cured on this surface. So this is the integration of the entire thing in a single. Well, I guess it kept on going up because it's not a single line. As you can see, it has some depth. Curious how this all works. Well, success. Here's my first. Actually, that's not true. My first 3D print is this little guy. And I should say my first SLA 3D print because it's not my first 3D print. But this little guy came out incredibly well. And the reason why I wanted to print this guy was because I had tried to do the same on FDM, and man, what a mess. Of course, this was a mistake because when I loaded so basically I went to Thingiverse. My kid wanted a Pokemon, so I got this file and it came out this small. So I figured, well, you know what, I probably need to resize it. But the results of the resize were awful. I mean, look at all this crap. I don't know why that happens. I was never able to make this work, and there were many failed attempts. So I did one here in the resin and it looks way better. Now I still have to learn a few things, like how do you clean this after you remove it from the plate. I think you're supposed to use ethanol alcohol, 95%. I don't have any of that, so I just use water. I think my 4-boy claims that he does good with water, but that didn't work for me very well. However, when you look at the definition, it's incredible, and it was very easy to print. Literally, the software it just loads all of these features. You don't have to mess with values and stuff, so that was pretty good. But probably I can play with the values a little bit. So I'm extremely happy with the results. It is incredible. Well, YouTubers, I gotta say, I mean, I'm thinking this is a success story from the go. There was only one singular mistake, and that was my fault. If you recall, I told you that the first print didn't work, and it basically got stuck on the surface. It was because if you look at the figure that I was printing, that little Pikachu, the surface was only like its 2 little fits, and that's not enough for it to guarantee that it's gonna grab the flat surface. So you need to put like a big area for it to attach. So that was my mistake. Once I added the supports with the planar surface, it just went. So I haven't tweaked any parameters. I just used the default. I'm blown away by this on how good it works. So pros and cons, so you get an idea whether this is something you want to try. I think I've already started the pros. I mean, the thing is amazing, extremely easy to set up. Leveling the surface on the bed, you know, I mean, yeah, it's not 5 seconds, but it's not 5 hours either. It's not even 5 minutes. So just take 5 or 10 minutes of your time. Make sure everything is level, and it's gonna go fantastically well. The construction is incredible. The price is, how can you beat it? I mean, $280, including some resin. It's unbelievable that you can get it for such a little amount. In terms of cons, there are only 2 things that I want to warn you. It's truly, I mean, it's not negative, it's just the reality of what it is. The size of the bed is not incredibly big, so you're not going to be able to make huge things with this. But you know, everything has a limit. No CNC machine is infinite, so obviously there is so much you can do with it. I'm thinking for jewelry, this is perfect. For little models like that may work as well. But like, for example, I was trying to print something that I'm printing in my behind me. If you can hear the 3D printer going, but that part wouldn't fit in here. It was like too big for its size, so that didn't work. But you know, I imagine there are bigger printers, and of course they're a little bit more expensive. But with everything that you acquire, somewhere you're gonna have a limit, and some part you won't be able to make. So that's just how it is. The other thing that I want you guys to be aware is that this is a little messy. Like my four boy says, it's not as messy as some other people are saying. I haven't checked to see what kind of horror stories people are selling out there, but I can tell you, you're going to be doing some cleaning. It's practically impossible not to do splashes of resin here and there. So there's going to be some cleaning going on. It's just what it is. It's nothing incredibly obnoxious, or as far as I know. I mean, I haven't had to run to the ER because of resin toxicity or anything like that. So far so good. But there'll be some cleaning. There is no way around this. It's just what it is. I still have to learn how to clean the parts better, because once I put them under the sun, there were like some blemishes, which I believe is basically whatever resin you didn't remove from the print. Of course, it's gonna get solidified with the sun. It's gonna cure. So obviously, you want to clean your part really well before you cure it for the final touch, because then it's too late. But the results are incredible. I mean, you can compare. So I imagine if you compare FDM with SLA, each one has their advantages and disadvantages. I'm positive there is 100 trillion blog postings on which is which. But I'm extremely happy with the acquisition, so definitely something to consider. Hey, I think I've talked enough for today, so I want to thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. I'm positive there will be more of this in the future, so stay tuned, and I'm gonna see you on the next time.